are going to start in a tabletop position or on all fours. So get comfortable on your mat for a second. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And then just to start, we're just going to start by transferring our weight from side to side. So think about putting your weight on your right hand and right knee, and then left hand and left knee. And then we're just going to take that little bit of a sway side to side. Almost think of this as kind of the way that elephants sway when they're just standing still. So find that little bit of a gentle sway, transferring your weight from one side and then the other. Cool. And then start to take your table in a couple of circles, just going in one direction. And then take your table in circles and go the other direction. Great. And then bring it back to center. And then we're going to take a couple of cat and cow breaths here just to find a little fluidity with the breath. So as you inhale, let your belly drop, lift your tailbone, lift your chest. And then as you exhale, round your back, pull the abdominal muscles up and round your shoulders. And then move with that fluid breath. Inhale as you let the belly drop, and exhale as you round your back. And then just for a few moments here, if you like, close your eyes down and find that movement with your breath. But just start to tune into sensation here. Rather than what your body looks like, pay attention to what your body feels like. Awesome. Take 1 or 2 more cycles of breath. And then find a little stillness. Pause for a second. Gaze down between your thumbs or keep your eyes closed, and then just set an intention here to honor your mind and your body throughout your practice. Never doing anything in your practice that would cause your body pain, and treating yourself with love, care, and respect. Cool. And then with that intention set, we're going to work our way right down onto our belly into a Sphinx Post. So you're going to bring your elbows and forearms down so that your elbows are in line with your shoulders, and then gently walk your legs to the back end of your mat, lower onto your belly, and then just give a second to let everything kind of settle into place. So you want to find a little bit of length through your tailbone, drawing your tailbone down towards your heels so that you can just create a little bit of space in the low back. And then once you feel like you've found that bit of space, soften your low back, soften the space between your shoulders. And then if it feels good to do so, you're going to let your chin tuck toward your chest. But if it feels better to keep the head lifted, you're going to keep it in a more lifted neutral position. And then once you've got yourself settled in, find a little stillness here. Let your feet go soft. Let your hands get soft. And then once you've found a little softness here, tune into the physical action of breath in your body. So you might notice the breath is slightly compressed in the belly as your belly connects to the floor. So as you breathe in and the lungs fill up and the diaphragm moves down, you might also notice a movement of breath in the back side of your body, especially right where you find that curve of the spine that's created in that back bend. So see if you can tune in and notice the movement of breath in the back side of your body. So take a second here just to tune in and notice if you've picked up tension in your glutes or if your butt has started to tense up a little bit. Let your muscles soften, let the backs of your thighs soften, And then notice if you've picked up tension in your hands or in your shoulders. Can you let your shoulders glide down just a little bit and get soft away from your ears? Soften your hands. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to lower down onto the belly. So just walk your elbows wide, gently lower yourself down. Give your bum a little wiggle. Maybe even bend your knees and swish your heels a little bit side to side, just to offer up a little bit of soothing to the low back. And then once you feel like your low back has gotten soothed out, we're going to take it right into intense shoulder stretch. So you're going to let your toes float down to the ground. Right hand is going to come straight out from the shoulder, straight out at your side, palm facing down. And then you're going to start by pressing into your left hand so your left shoulder draws up. And this might be enough. You might be holding a lot of tension in the shoulder, so it might feel good to stay in that lighter position. But if that feels good, but you want more, you're going to roll over onto your right hip, step your left foot behind you, and let your head soften down. And now you have your towel handy. So if you want that extra bit of support to your head, you can always tuck your towel underneath your head like a pillow. But if it feels good to just let your head soften down, stay there in that position. We're not going to stay here for a full 3 minutes. This is only going to be a minute and a half on each side. So to the best of your ability, soften your right hand, soften your right arm, relax your right shoulder. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully roll back onto your belly if you were rolled over onto the hip. Slide that right hand in, and then just for a second, give your shoulders a little wiggle, make sure everything feels good and comfortable. And then when you're ready, we're going to take it right to the other side. So left hand is going to extend out straight from the shoulder. You'll start by just pushing into the right hand and drawing the right shoulder back. That might be enough for you there. If it feels good, but you want more, roll over onto your left hip. And then find a little softness here. Let your head relax. To the best of your ability, let your left shoulder soften. Let your left arm soften. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly, gently, mindfully roll back onto your belly. Slide that left hand in, and with both hands alongside your shoulders, we're going to take 3 low cobras here. So give a second to just wiggle out your tush, knees on the ground, toenails pressing into the earth. Inhale and gently lift your heart up just a little gentle back bend. Exhale and soften yourself down. Inhale and lift up just a little bit. Exhale to lower down. Beautiful. One more time, just like that. Inhale to lift up just a little bit. Exhale to lower down. Awesome. And then from here, push your way up into a tabletop position. And we're going to take it into child's pose or extended child's pose. So you're going to choose which version you like best. You can choose for knees together, toes together, sit back on your heels, let your belly soften, and arms can come back towards your feet or arms out in front of you. Or if you prefer that wider version with the knees to the outer edges of your mat, butt back to your heels, belly, chest, and forehead soften down here. So you're going to choose the version that you like best. Knees together offers just a little bit more support to the low back, but the knees wider apart gives a little space for the belly and the chest. So whichever one you like best, take a second to find it and then settle in. Soften everything down and just tune back into your breath. Watching your inhalation, noticing your exhalation. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to lift yourself up into a tabletop position. And then from here, we're going to spin the legs around so that the legs come out in front of us nice and long. And we're going to take it into a head to knee pose. So in this variation of our pose, we're going to keep our hips squared, and you're either going to take one foot and slide it in so it's like your foot is in a tree position, or you can swing it out the other way like you're in a half hero position or half saddle position. So whichever way you like best, it's just what's most comfortable on that leg. And then you're just going to fold over the extended leg. So there's not a lot that's going on with the bent knee position, but it's just gets you a little bit extra if you feel like that's of value to you. And then the leg that's extended, you're just going to kind of let it soften. So rather than putting effort and pushing through the heel, let the leg be soft, which means you might get a little external or internal rotation. Fold yourself over to a depth that feels good to you, and then invite some softness in. Let your back body soften. Soften into your breath. And then before you find that deep quietness in your posture, just tune into that bent leg. So if you opted for the saddle position and you got there and it just didn't feel quite right, you can lift off, bend it the other way, and then settle back into your shape. So we've got about a minute left in our hold in this position. If you feel like you've lost sensation and you want a little bit more, think about finding a little bit of lift and length through the front of your body. Maybe walk your hands a little bit closer to your foot. But if you feel like you've come into too much sensation and it's become a little bit more than you were hoping for, you can always walk yourself a little further away from the thigh and let your hands give you a little bit of support. So just tune in and notice what's going on the back of the leg. If you're feeling any shooting sensation up into your glute, up into your butt muscles, you might want to lighten up a little bit. But if it's all feeling good and everything is still staying nice and soft, keep with that relaxed position of the back side of your body. Soften your jaw. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to come up. And then whichever version of your bent leg you had, go ahead and extend it nice and long, and then just pause for a moment and notice. With one leg, with both legs out in front of you, close your eyes down and then just notice, does one leg feel a little different than the other? And there's no right or wrong. It might feel totally the same, or you might notice just a little bit of difference between the back side of one of your legs. All right, so then when you're ready, once you feel like you found your awareness there, then you're going to either swing the leg out to the side or inside, whichever version you like best. And you don't have to settle on the same version, though you might feel like a little symmetry there feels good. So once you've got your legs settled in, fold yourself over to a depth that feels good, and then invite that softness back in. Soften through the back of your body. Soften into your breath. We have about a minute left on our hold on this side, so tune in and notice. If you've lost sensation and you want more, you might opt to walk your hands closer towards your foot. But if you've gotten too much sensation and you want it to lighten up, just lift yourself up just a little bit and let your hands support that position. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to lift yourself up. And then whichever way your leg was bent, go ahead and send it nice and long. And then give everything a little bounce. Wiggle out your ankles, bounce out your knees, wiggle out your shoulders, make sure everything's feeling good. Letting go of any of that little bit of ache that you may come across in those positions. And then we're going to find our way back into a tabletop position and into our puppy pose or heart melting pose. So keeping our knees fairly in line with the hips, walk your hands towards the top edge of your mat and let your chest and your forehead soften down. And now here's one of the places where you can use your towel if you want a little bit more. It's going to take you a little deeper into the position. So you could place the towel in front of you, place your arms on top of the towel, and then drop a little deeper into it. Works great if you have a lot of flexibility in the shoulders, but if you're already in a tense position as it is, you might choose to keep that part off so that you can sink in just to the right depth that's appropriate for your body. So here, if you notice that you're picking up a lot of tension in the shoulders and you're not sinking deep enough into it, might be an option to walk your hands a little bit wider towards the outer edges of your mat and then settle back in and see if that creates a little bit more space in the shoulders for your chest to sink a little further towards the earth. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to bring yourself back up to a tabletop position, walking your hands in so that your hands are in line with the shoulders. And then once you found your way there, we're going to come back to that cat and cow breath. Inhale as you drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail. Exhale as you round your back. And we just want to bring a little bit of fluid movement back into the shoulders to start to move with your breath's rhythm. Inhale as you drop the belly. Exhale as you round your back. Allowing just a little bit of time here to work a little bit of fluid back into the shoulders, create a little space. Awesome. And then when you feel ready, once you've got that little bit of dull ache worked out, we're going to move right into a deer position. So we're going to swing the legs out to one side. So one leg across the front of the body and one leg out to the side. And then once you've got your legs set up, if your one hip is higher than the other and it's really hiked up, you can take your towel and just tuck it under your bum so it brings the floor up and makes your hips a little bit more even. And then if you've got a nice even position with the hips, then we're just going to take ourselves into a little fold. So you can walk your arms nice and long into like a little sleeping deer position, arms long and belly and chest melting down, or you might prefer to prop yourself up a little bit so elbows and forearms give a little bit more support. So you choose the depth that you'd like to go, and then make any little rearrangements if you need to, so that your knees feel happy about this position. And then once you've found a good place to land, soften back into your breath. Soften your shoulders, soften the back of your neck. I'll take a moment right away to notice if you're picking up any tension in your toes or your feet. Is there any way that you can rearrange them so that your feet can be soft? We've got about a minute left in this posture. So if you're on elbows and forearms and you've lost a little bit of sensation, maybe test the water, see if it feels good to walk your arms a little bit longer and sink a little bit deeper. If you're out in that longer position and it's already become too much, you might opt to walk yourself in and prop yourself up on your elbows and forearms. So make any little rearrangements that you like. Come back to that softness and then just tune back into your breath. Nice deep inhale and a slow but natural exhale. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to bring yourself back up. And then once you come up, swing your legs out in front of you, keep a nice generous bend in the knees and just take a couple of swishes of the knees side to side, just to bring some fluid back into the hips, make sure everything feels good. And then once you feel like you've got all that worked out, we're going to swing the legs right into the other side. So swing one leg in front of you, One leg is internally rotated, but out to the side. And then if you need to readjust your towel to place it under your hips so your hips feel like nice and level, take a second to do that. And then once you've got yourself in a good position, fold yourself over into the depth that feels good. So it might be good to be on elbows and forearms. It might be good to walk the arms nice and long, or any variation in between that feels just right to you. And then see if you can invite some softness in right away. Soften through the back of your body. Notice if you've picked up any tension in the inner thighs. Can you let your inner thighs soften? Let your feet be soft. We have about a minute left on this side. So notice if you've lost sensation and you want a little bit more, it might feel good to walk the arms a little bit longer and sink down just a little bit further through the top half of the body. If you found like you've picked up too much sensation, it might feel good to walk the elbows in a little bit closer or lift yourself up and let your arms support. So make sure that you're readjusting as needed so that your body feels comfortable and you're able to find ease in your breath and ease in the position that you're in. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to bring yourself back up. Swing your legs out in front of you just to give everything good swishing out, knees dropping side to side, wiggle your toes, maybe move your ankles, any little bit of movement here that would feel good. And then once you've got all of that worked out, we're going to start to find our way down onto our back. So we're going to take it into a broken fish position. So here's where we're going to bring our towel into play. So you've got your rolled up towel in a nice thick roll, and we're going to lay it perpendicular across the mat so that it's going to be along our shoulder blades. So we want to place it just so that we can get it right underneath the shoulder blades in that position, and then lower yourself down. And then just make sure that it's in a good place. So if you need to pop yourself back up and readjust, take the time to do that. And then you're going to choose your own adventure with your legs. You might choose to let your legs go long and just let your feet just kind of flop out to the sides in any comfortable position. And then you're going to soften over the towel. You're going to let your head drop back just as far as feels comfortable. Make any little readjustments that you need to so your hair feels good, your shoulders feel good. And then once you got yourself settled in, you might opt to readjust your legs. So you could always take it into a constructive rest with the legs, feet a little out to the edges of your mat, knees dropping in towards each other. So you're going to choose the version that feels the most comfortable to your legs so that you can find a little relaxation down in the bottom half of the body. And then mostly what's going on here is that back bend in the top half of the body. So give a second, get settled in. And then if you need to readjust your towel in any way, go ahead and do it. If the towel is rolled up and it's too much height for your head and your neck, you always have the option to unroll it a little bit, and you can even tuck the tail end of it under your head so it could support your head and offer you a lighter back bend position. So if you need to make any lighter adjustments that way, you have plenty of time to do so. But once you've got yourself in a position that you think feels right to you, let your shoulder head soften down, let your arms be in a wide position, palms facing up. Arms are nice and heavy. And then just tune back into your breath here. Nice, generous inhale. Slow but natural exhale. So no need to force the air out, but just let your air come out naturally. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, we're going to come out nice and slow. So you're going to start by just gently lifting your head away from the floor as you slide your elbows in, and then you're going to prop yourself up and away from your towel, come up into a seated position, and you're going to take your towel and move it with you. So you're going to take the towel and just tuck it up underneath your legs in a bent knee position, and then slowly start to find your way back down to the ground. So lower yourself on down, and then you're going to take that towel, pull it nice and close to your butt, and then lift your butt up and slide the towel underneath. So the towel is going to be under the tailbone and your broad hip bones. So it's not going to be in the low back. The low back does not have enough bony structure to help support this. So we want to keep it in a more supported structure. Once you've got yourself there and it feels like the towel's in a good position, your hips feel nice and even, pull your right knee up towards your chest and send your left leg nice and long. And you're just going to let your left leg get nice and heavy. And you can either do a double hand hold with a little basket weave so that you don't have to effort too much and you can just let that knee drop towards the chest. Or if you want a single hand hold, you can tuck your hand behind your knee and then get that little squeeze from your knee to help support this hand hold. So whichever variation of a hand hold works best for you. But what we really want to find is a little length through the left side, the leg that's extended long, and then just let that foot be nice and heavy. We're going to hold this side for 1 minute and then we'll switch over to the other, and then both legs are going to extend long. So just allow a little time here to let your shoulders get heavy, soften your chest, soften your belly. Notice if you're holding effort and your feet are gripping in your toes, can you let your feet soften? Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to switch sides. So just let your right knee go, send it nice and long, pull your left knee into your chest, and then whichever version of handhold works best for you. A double handhold, making that little basket weave, or a single handhold might feel good to tuck that hand behind the knee, and then you get that little bit of a squeeze. So whichever version you like best with that. And then take a second to soften here. Let your right leg get nice and soft and heavy. Let your shoulders get soft and heavy. And then let your awareness come back to your feet. Did you pick up tension in your feet or your toes? Can you let your feet soften? Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to let that left leg go nice and long. So both legs are going to extend nice and long. And then you're going to give pause for a second to just tune in and notice. Do you want to readjust your towel underneath you? Would it feel good to move it up or down a little bit so it's nice and supportive underneath the hip bones? Take a second to find a position with the towel that feels good underneath you. And then once you feel like you've got it, if it feels good to do so, you're going to extend both arms up and overhead. So this is going to create a little bit of length through the front of the body. Legs are nice and long, but we're going to let the feet fall out so that you're not holding a lot of tension in the legs. No need to effort there. Arms up and overhead, and then allow a little time here to let your shoulders soften. You might find it comfortable to bring the arms closer to the ears or a little further away so your shoulders have a good position that they can settle into. So we don't want to effort too much through the front of the body if we can help it. And then see if you can just tune back into your breath here. Nice, generous inhale. Slow but natural exhale. If at any point you feel like the arms up overhead feels like it's too much, you always have the option to bring them back down, palms facing down alongside the hips, or any other place that would feel like you don't have to effort too much in the arms. But if the arms up and overhead feels good, leave them just as they are and keep inviting that softness into the front of the body. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, start to come out nice and slow. Maybe start by bringing your hands back down alongside the hips if they were up and overhead. And then maybe walk your feet in a little bit closer, knees bent. And then we're going to lift the hips up away from the towel, remove the towel from underneath you, and then relax your hips down and then pause for a second. Just give a moment or two to let your hips soften. And then see how it feels to walk your feet just a little bit wider. Take a couple of gentle windshield wipers with the knees side to side. And then just want to make sure that your low back feels good and comfortable and that you didn't come across anything in that back bent position that we might need to readjust. So if you feel like there's anything funky going on with the low back, pull both knees up into your chest, give yourself a light little squeeze, see if that sets it right. And then when you're ready, we're going to take it right into a supine twist with cat holding its tail. So hold on to your right knee, let your left leg go nice and long. We're going to take that right knee over and across the body. And then if it feels good to do so, you're going to bend that left leg and see if you can catch hold of the foot with your right hand. So left hand is on the right knee, right hand is on the right foot. And then if it feels good to do so, you're just going to take a few deep breaths here, letting the shoulders soften towards the earth, finding that little bit of compression in the twist in your center. And then if holding onto the left foot or left leg feels like it becomes too much, you always have the option to let go there. Take one more breath here. If you're holding on to your left foot, start by releasing your handhold, send your left leg nice and long, and then slowly and mindfully pull your right knee into your chest. Give it a little squeeze. Bring your left knee into your chest, so both knees into the chest. Maybe take a little gentle rock side to side. And then we're going to take that supine twist with the cat holding its tail to the other side. So you're going to hold on to your left knee, let your right leg go nice and long. Take that left knee over and across the body. So you find that supine twist first. And then if it feels good, you're going to bend that right leg. Left hand is going to catch hold of that right foot. And then you're going to let your shoulders soften down. So finding that handhold lets you settle just a little bit deeper into that twist. If that handhold to that right leg does not feel good, leave that part off and just find your twist. And then once you've got a position with your body that feels right, tune back into your breath. Notice that little bit of compression in that twisted position. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, if you're holding onto your right foot, start by releasing your handhold there, and then pull your left knee into your chest, bring the right knee into meet. So both knees come back into the chest. And then we're gonna just take those knees and draw them in a couple circles, go in one direction. And then take your knees and draw them in circles, go the other way. Awesome. And then let those knees come to stillness. Hold on to your left knee, send your right leg upward towards the ceiling. And we're going to give the right leg a little shake. So let it be nice and loose, just holding nice and firm to that left leg. Shake it out just a little bit, get a little vibrational work going on. So loosen the ankle, loosen the muscle tissue, letting everything just get a nice little shake out. And then once you feel good, bend that knee, release it down, hold on to your right knee, send your left leg up towards the sky, and then just invite a little shake into that left leg. Again, letting the ankle joint be loose, letting the muscle tissue be nice and soft. Nice, and then once you feel good and ready, release that foot down as well. So both feet are going to touch down to the ground. Pause just for a moment and notice. Ask your body where would be your best Shavasana. Would it feel good to come to constructive rest? Let the knees drop in towards each other. Would it feel good to take your towel and tuck it under your knees and come to a more traditional shape, but offering that little bit of support so it provides that bent knee position, which is also very nice for the low back? Or would it feel good to take your towel, tuck it under your head, or across the belly to give you that little bit of tucked in sensation? So take a second to get super comfortable, whatever variation you choose. And then allow a little stillness to come into your limbs. Arms and legs nice and heavy. Eyes closed or just soften your gaze. Allow your breath to come back to its natural rhythm. And then if you can, invite a sense of heaviness into your bones. A warm softness into your muscles. And soften the outer edges of your skin. Start to bring your awareness back into your body. Gently wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, and invite a deeper breath back into your body. And then if it feels good to do so, turn your head a little bit side to side, just to bring a little gentle movement into the cervical spine, massaging out the back of the head, but moving in a safe range of motion that is the most appropriate for your head and your neck. And then as your body starts to reawaken, if it feels good, wiggle everything around, maybe take a big good morning stretch like a yawn, stretch from fingers to toes, and then slowly, gently, mindfully start to find your way up to a comfortable seated position. So maybe you come up to Sukhasana with legs crossed, or come up in any other way or any other seat that fits your body best. And then just always as an FYI, since we have our little towel props handy, if sitting in an easy seated position doesn't always feel the most comfortable to you, you always have the option to sit on a towel or a pillow. Kind of brings the floor up to meet your bum, and then your knees might drop out just a little bit further. So if that ever feels like you're efforting too much in your easy seat, a little something under your bum might do the trick. If it doesn't work for you, leave that part off. But once you found your way up into a nice, comfortable seated position, sitting up nice and tall, we're going to take our light piano fingers and we're just going to do a little light tap up and down the chest. So think from sternum up to the collarbones, just lightly tapping up and down. And then if you like, close your eyes down and just for a moment, tune in. Tuning into that light little tapping sound. You might notice it in your breath. Notice the texture of your skin. Take one or two more little taps up and down. And then when you feel ready, stack one hand on top of your heart and the other hand right on top of that hand. And then close your eyes down or soften your gaze. Take a nice, generous breath in. Breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and for all of your hard work. Take another nice, big, generous inhale. And as you exhale, let your shoulders soften, soften your jaw, and think about letting go of anything you're holding on to that won't serve you through the rest of your night. And then when you're ready, gently lift up through the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you. Happy Monday.